I was glad when you asked, or when you said it was going to be about how our firefighters lived instead of how they died, because that was the epitome of Kenny, was just life in general. As I've attended different memorials and meet new survivor families, it doesn't surprise me that all of them will come across and say, oh, they would have done anything to be with their family. And they loved family time. I just see the link between that and the fact that they died for what they loved. I mean, they loved family and they loved their job and they loved saving people. So I think it's another link for everybody together. And Kenny was an exceptional husband, an outstanding father, loved his community naturally, loved God, and his number one goal at work was to, well, fly under the radar, so nothing to bring attention to he or his crew, and that everybody goes home. Well, growing up a child of law enforcement, I knew about the whole thing. Been a volunteer firefighter before I met Kenny, and what I've found is it's a family. And I don't just mean that St. Johns County Fire Rescue, Local 3865, I don't mean that they look out for us. I mean, when I picked up and moved all the way to Colorado, I'm in the process of buying a little ranch out there, and immediately stumbled across someone, a firefighter that has, it's called Firefighter Mortgages, a company, and referred a firefighter real estate agent for me. So to say, there's no limits or no bounds. That's what it means. And they've been there, whether it's been the folks in Colorado from the Local 5 or St. Johns County Fire Rescue. I know I could call somebody, the drop of a hat, and they would drop everything to help us or be with us for whatever we needed. Coming here is a different facet of being a survivor. Those that have gone before me have paved a way to not just to honor Kenny, but to honor me and our sacrifice with the children, or my children. I mean, it's life-changing. It was a life-changing event. But what I've noticed about here in the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation is it's truly about the families.
My dad was a huge family man. If he wasn't at work, he was with his kids doing something. He loved spending time with me and my sister Caroline. He basically worshipped the ground that my mom walked on. His probably favorite thing to do with us was go to Disney World, because we lived in St. Augustine, Florida at the time, and we had annual passes, so we would go twice, 3 times a month sometimes. So yeah, we loved going to Disney. He was really fun, and he loved his family. He loved us. The last vacation we took as a family before he passed was to New York. We stayed there for about 2.5 weeks, and he loved it. I mean, I loved it. It was such a fun experience, and looking back, it was like, wow, that was the last family vacation that we were gonna have with him, and we did, going back, you feel like, man, I wish I would have treasured this more and been in the moment more. But that's something you can't dwell on, or else it'll eat you up. I know from experience. I remember there was one time I was in the 3rd grade, I believe, and my teacher was asking, does anybody in here have a parent as a firefighter? And I raised my hand, and I was just instantly bombarded with all these questions, and I just remember that was such a cool experience for me, because people thought like all my friends were like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So growing up, it was a lot of, if there was ever a time where kids would tour like a fire truck or anything and be like, yeah, my dad works on one of those, actually, for a fun fact. So it was just really cool being able to be that kid of my dad's an everyday hero. And that was the thing. Everybody knew, like, hey, his dad's a firefighter. Isn't that so cool? So I loved having the attention of that, and I loved thinking every day my dad goes and could be saving someone's life right now. There would be times where we would just bump into people at the supermarket and be like, yeah, I had a call with him and he saved my daughter or something. And it's so weird to see people like that just everywhere, just being like, oh yeah, I know your dad. He's a firefighter, isn't he? I mean, like, yep, that's him. What does the fire department mean to me now? It's everything. It's such a brotherhood of respect and honor and family. I mean, it goes into this whole familyhood of, someone died on the line of duty in our county. It was a huge deal. I mean, for my father, the news was there almost, I believe it was 1,600 people showed up to his funeral. 1,600 people had showed up. And like some of these people my family had never met before. And at the visitation the night before, it was such a big deal because everyone is so connected in that sort of, the sense of brotherhood. If there was one thing I had to pick for people to remember about my dad, it would probably be his pride in his family. I was young. I was 12 when he died. So I had made mistakes, of course. I was a child, and my sister was almost 16, and so she had definitely made mistakes, and so did my mom, but no matter what we did, he always just took so much pride in us. And anytime there would be a dinner party for firefighters, he wanted us to come along to be like, hey, this is my family. He was so proud of his family, and that was, like I said, that was his number one priority, was his family, coming home to his family after a 24-hour shift, and seeing us was just the highlight of his day. So that would be the one thing, is just the pride he had in his family.